Now, over the weekend, we saw horrendous images as civilians trying to flee through the supposed safe passages around the town of Irpin were attacked just outside Kyiv. Overnight on Sunday, Russia sent a letter proposing a temporary ceasefire. The Ukrainian government see these routes as unacceptable as they lead to Russia or Belarus. Joining me now is Labour MP and Shadow Peace Minister Fabian Hamilton. Fabian, good to see you. You're the Shadow Minister for Peace. Your assessment of the chances of your assessment of the chances of seeing peace in Ukraine?
Sadly, very limited at the moment. There seems to be no way out to save face for the Russian leader, Vladimir Putin. And the question, I think, in my mind and the minds of very many Ukrainians, as well as the rest of us around the world, is how can Putin safely withdraw and shut down this war, which is not going his way, without losing face, without appearing to do an about turn, and without actually making himself look a fool for telling the world that this was a war against fascism and Nazism. This was the West trying to impose its will upon Ukraine, a former Soviet satellite. How can there be a withdrawal with the saving of face? And of course, we need that to save lives. That's the most important thing right now.
What's the best way of bringing that about?
Well, it seems to me that the economic means are very important. The military experts tell us that to occupy Ukraine without the kind of resistance the Ukrainians are currently offering and will offer if they're fully occupied will take at least 350,000 troops. That costs a fortune, always assuming those troops are willing to do what they're commanded to do, and morale, we're told, is extremely low. I think that we need to pursue the economic sanctions even more fully. I think my colleagues on the Labour front bench are absolutely right that we can't be waiting 6 months for the oligarchs to register. We have to give them 28 days, and I think that's backed up by a lot of expert evidence as well. The fact is, the economy of Russia is now smaller than the economy of Spain. Now, of course, the increase in oil prices and gas prices is going to help give them some liquidity. But the fact is that in the end, I think it will be the economy that squeezes Russia and makes this war totally unaffordable, because they're going to be cut off from the entire world global financial community, as well as economic trade and social and sporting and cultural issues. That's not good for the Russian people. And I hope that means that many, many Russians continue putting their lives in jeopardy by demonstrating against their own government and saying, this war is not in our name. And that will all further add to the pressure on Putin. But let's face it, Gloria, he is like a czar. His word goes. He's an absolute supreme ruler in that country without any challenge. And the question is, how far can he go with his own people, as well as the slaughter in Ukraine, before somebody stops him, whether it's at home or abroad?
You talk about economic sanctions. The Prime Minister is rushing through new legislation today. He says we will ramp up the pressure on those criminal elites trying to launder money on UK soil and close the net on corruption. Those oligarchs will have nowhere to hide. Why isn't that enough for the Labour Party?
Yeah. Well, it's a very good start, and it's a very good thing to do. But in the end, what we need to make sure is that those oligarchs, as well as the ordinary Russian population, are so appalled. The price they're paying is so high. And, you know, I hate to see ordinary people have to pay the price for one man's folly. Well, he's evil, let's put it bluntly. So I think as far as we're concerned in the Labour Party, we support the government in what they're doing, but we want them to go a lot further. And we want far more visas to be issued to the refugees that are desperate to come to any safe part of Europe. 50 visas is not good enough. Let's ramp that up too. I know constituents in my own Leeds North East constituency who want to give bedrooms and half their households to refugees coming from Ukraine. Because the one thing we know is that when there is once again peace restored in Ukraine, when they're able to be a nation state again, those people will want to go home. They are fiercely supportive of their own nationality, their own country, and they want to support that country, but they're not prepared to see their families murdered in this appalling way. So we need to do as much as we possibly can as a British government, as the British state, not just to welcome refugees, but to ensure that the pressure is piled on to Putin and his megalomaniac project to flatten Ukraine and kill as many innocent civilians as possible. This has to stop, and it has to stop right now.
The government has already increased its visa offer to refugees from the Ukraine, and the Home Secretary says she's doing everything possible to speed up efforts to issue the travel permits. The government are doing their best.
Well, I don't think they are doing the best, Gloria. There are dissenting voices in their own party saying we've done enough after all. We don't need to welcome any refugees here into the United Kingdom. I'm sorry, that's nonsense. The British people are way ahead of certain members of the governing party who think we've done enough. We haven't done enough. And actually, 50 visas so far. Compare that with Poland or Romania or Germany or any of the other countries that are far closer to the front line there. We are not doing enough. We need to do more. We need to welcome more people here. We need to pile that pressure on, as I say. And what we've done so far is good, but let's keep on going until this slaughter stops. That's what we have to aim for.
Labour's Fabian Hamilton, Shadow Peace Minister, thanks very much indeed.